Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on the Jubilee tomato. Alright, so let's take a look at the Jubilee. This is a first year grow for me. I had to cut it in half because this is the only one that's ready right now. There's a couple more on the vine, not too many this year. But if I could line it up, well, I can't really line it up perfectly, but I can get you in the ballpark. It's generally a good slicer tomato. It's got an interesting orange color. It's not quite orange and it's not quite yellow, but it's more orange than yellow. It's a real weird kind of a copper toned tomato if you're looking at it like that, you know. And so one of the features I noticed about this tomato is that it has these green, a little bit of a green shoulders on it. I don't know how the other ones are going to develop. And the tomatoes are generally about this size in general. And you can see the inside of it. Looks like that. Now I moved it around a little bit, so there might be some bubbles, but you can see the inside is got these chambers around it, and this one formed like this thick rind over here on this side. Now I don't know if that's characteristic of all these tomatoes or it's just a little freak of nature on there, but yeah, you can see there's a real thick piece of rind over there. You can't really notice any wilding in the rind, but I could kind of see it like up here. I could see it up there, I could see it there a little bit. I kind of see it in the pulp in the middle. The chambers seem to be like a 3 or maybe a 4 chamber tomato. It might be a quad chamber tomato, something like that. Can't really say for sure and specifically, but that's what it looks like. And I'll give you a real good look at it. Hopefully the camera's focusing. And there's really not much I can really elaborate on it. I haven't grown this tomato in the past. This is my first year, so it's hard for me to say what it's going to taste like, what to expect. Is it tangy? Is it sweet? Looks like some of the seeds might be fouling out over there, so maybe we'll leave that part out. We'll take a bite on this side and give it a go. Let's see what it tastes like. Well, right out the gate, it's very tangy on one side. More of like a citrusy type of tangy. Almost wanted to make you pucker. It's very tangy on one side, and it's very low on sweetness on the other. So the balance is definitely out on this tomato, at least for this year. The sweetness I'm probably going to say is probably around 20%. The tangy is probably about 35%. It's very high in the tangy. Sweet is kind of low. Sweet and low. And it's very watery in the middle, which is probably a good characteristic of sauce because you kind of want that tomato juice as you're making your sauce and kind of just evaporate the moisture, but you get that tomato flavor is carried in that water part. And it's got a pretty good tomato aftertaste to it. It tastes pretty good as far as the way it sticks around afterwards. It's got a nice tomatoey flavor. But I'm not going to rank it very high, number one, because of the seeds looking not so good. That's just probably the tomato, so I really shouldn't rank the tomato based on that. But I'm not happy with the offset in flavor. The tangy is too high and the sweet is too low. I'm hoping that I grow these next year in really good soil. I know I said that last year and this year I didn't do it, but next year will definitely be good soil. And hopefully we can develop the flavor on this tomato a little bit better based on that. I'm going to add a lot of lime to the soil. Could be there was just simply not enough lime. But as far as right now goes, I'm not a big fan of that tomato right now. It's a little too tangy for me. But it's not a bad tomato. You could probably make sauce out of this, no problem. You add a little bit of salt to that, like I'm going to do right now. Just add a little salt to it like that, and that'll just bring that flavor right up. Let's take a bite. The salt did definitely help out the flavor, but it didn't make it mouth-watering. Goes to tell you something about the tomato. Normally when I add salt to a tomato that don't taste so good, the salt really brings the flavor out. This was still kind of struggling there a little bit. It tasted better, but I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of it this year. I'm not going to rate this very high. I'm definitely going to rate this probably around a 3. then that's actually overrating it right now. I just don't want to rate it a 4, being 1 being the highest. I don't want to rate it a 4, only because I think that rating it 4, I mean, it's just basically, you know, almost junk, you know. And I don't want to say that. I really want to give it a good chance next year, but it definitely didn't earn first place, and it definitely didn't earn second place. So third place is about as good as I can do. But like I say, the tangy part is a little bit awkward on that. Outside of that, you know, I have to give it a go next year. We'll see if we can build that flavor up on it, and we'll have to go from there. Nothing to brag about, but you could grow them. Maybe you'll get a better luck with the taste. Just make sure you add lime to the soil. Make sure you make the soil brand new soil. Don't use any old soil. Make sure it's, you know, very healthy. You put all your nutrients and micronutrients in there, the plant should develop a pretty good tasting tomato. But this year it didn't develop too good for me, so I'm not rating it high this year. So, but you could buy. I'll leave links in the description below. You could check it out on Amazon. Maybe see if you find something you like there. Give it a go. But I'll give it a go next year, and we'll see if we can bring that number up a little bit. All right, so that's your review for the Jubilee tomato. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.